Hello everyone, welcome back again to Excel with Ugo. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a dynamic personal income tax table for Paye Computation. This video was based off on a request from one of my subscribers with this message. Good evening, ma'am. Please kindly assist me on this. Then he shows me a snapshot of his payroll and the tax rate he's been applying. I've been applying this current tax rate, but I'm not getting it. Then my response, good evening, okay, we will do and send to you later. He says, much thanks, ma'am. Then after creating the video, I sent to him and he replied, much thanks, ma'am. Make sure you watch this video to the end so that you would see how we're able to apply different tax rates to the table and it updated automatically. Let's get started. In order to better understand how to compute Paye on Microsoft Excel, it is best to first know how the working is done on paper so that it will make the process a lot easier when applying it on Excel. In this request, I was provided with a tax rate different from what is currently applicable in Nigeria as of today. However, the workings were done based on the current and correct tax rates. Regardless of whichever tax rate that was used to create the formulas, at the end of the video, we would see how dynamically created the table is, such that when there is a change in the rates and in the figures, it will be updated automatically. What this means is that whenever there is a change in the tax laws and in the tax rates, this table will still be very much useful. The first 300,000 gets a rate of 7%, which amounts to 21,000 naira, which means that any taxable income between 0 to 300,000 naira will be charged 7% as tax payable. But when the taxable income goes above 300,000 naira but less than 600,000 naira, 600,000 is the cumulative total of the first 300,000 and the next 300,000. In this situation, the tax rate also increases to 11%. In other words, the extra above the 300,000 naira less than 600,000 naira will be charged 11% as tax payable. For example, if the taxable income of a taxpayer is 350,000 naira, the first 300,000 will be charged 7%, which is 21,000. Then the excess of 50,000 above the 300,000 will be charged 11%, which is 5,500, making it a cumulative total of 26,500 that would be paid as payee. With that same understanding, when the taxable income then increases above 600,000 naira but less than 1.1 million, the tax rate also increases to 15%. But if the taxable income increases above 1.1 million but less than 1.6, the tax rate increases also to 19%. For example, if the taxable income of a taxpayer is 1.5 million naira, he gets charged 21,000 on the first 300,000, 33,000 on the next 300,000, 75,000 naira on the next 500,000. Then the excess of 400,000 above the initial cumulative of 1.1 will be charged 19%. Then the overall total will become the amount of tax to be paid. So let's use this last example as a check against our formula. Let's say the taxable income of a taxpayer is 3.5 million naira, which is greater than the cumulative total of 3.2 million naira but less than 6.4. The excess above 3.2, which is 3.5 million minus 3.2 million, becomes 300,000 naira. This 300,000 naira then gets charged with 24%, which is the rate following. So 24% of 300,000 becomes 72,000 naira. The cumulative total of the previous rate is equal to 560,000 naira. So the 72,000, which is the excess above 3.2, plus the 560,000 which had come initially, equals 632,000 naira, which therefore should be the ideal amount to be charged as tax payable for a taxpayer whose annual taxable income is 3.5 million naira. We can go ahead and include 3.5 million naira on our tax table so that when we are done creating the formulas, our final result should also give us 632,000 naira. In creating the formula, we would be using the if function, and also pay close attention to cell referencing, because this will help us to copy the formulas to the right and also downward. The if function and cell referencing will come in very handy while creating this formula, so you need to have proper understanding of these functions to be able to understand how this table is created. In case you haven't seen my videos on these functions, please click on the link on the description box to go watch them. We will start with the equal sign and type if. We open the bracket. Our logical text here will be the taxable income, and so using cell referencing we would be fixing just the column B, so that by the time we copy this formula to the right, the formula would not shift to the right. Our focus is on taxable income alone, but we'll be leaving the row 5 without fixing it, so that when we copy the formula downwards, the formula would also apply to other taxable income. Back to our formula. If the taxable income is greater than the sum of 0 to 300,000, which in this case is cell B3 to cell C3. Remember, to fix either the column or the row on your formula, you use the $ on your keyboard, or you use the shortcut key F4. Using cell referencing again, I would fix the whole of cell B3, because when I copy to the right, I don't want that cell to move to the right. And when I copy downwards also, I don't want it to move from that position, because that is the point where my sum is starting from. But for cell C3, I would only be fixing the row and I would leave the column not fixed, because when I copy the cell to the right, the sum will shift from cell C to cell D, but when I copy downwards, it's not going to shift down to row 4. Then we can close the bracket for the sum function. We put a comma. The value, if true, will now be 7% times 300,000 naira, which in this case is cell C4 times cell C3. So I would fix just the row number 3 and 4 and leave the column C alone. So what we are saying is that if the taxable income is greater than the sum of 0 to 300,000, which is the first 300,000, then apply 7% on 300,000. This is the first leg of the formula. Always remember to use your comma separator when you are moving to the next argument of the function. So for value if false, we will start with another if function. We'll type if and open the bracket. Our logical text remains the taxable income. What we are saying is if the taxable income is greater than the sum of B3 to B3. Again, we fix the whole of the first column B and row 3, which is the point where the sum is starting from. Then for the next one, we'll fix only the row 3 and leave the column B not fixed. What this implies is if the taxable income is greater than an amount which is not up to 300,000, it is assumed that we have the number 0 before the first 300,000. So if our taxable income is greater than 0 but less than 300,000, we need to find the excess above 0 and apply the tax rate on it. We put a comma. The value, if true, will now be taxable income minus the sum of 0 to 0, which is cell B3 to cell B3. This is done to get the excess amount above the taxable income. Again, we'll be fixing the whole of the column and the row of the first B3 because that's the point where the sum is starting from. But the second B3 would be fixing just the row. Then we can close the bracket for the sum function. Please note that the formula calculated for the excess amount should be put inside its own bracket times the rate following, which in this case is 7%. That is cell C4, and we'll be fixing just the row. We put a comma, then for value if false, we'll put 0, and because we use two if functions for this formula, we'll close our bracket twice, then we'll press enter. We can now copy our formula to the right and also copy it downwards to get our results. So let's confirm if we got 632,000 as expected for the 3.5 million taxable income. Yes, we are correct. Now let's look at the formula under the 11% rate to interpret what we did for better understanding. The first leg of the formula says if the taxable income is greater than the cumulative total of 600,000, then apply 11% on 300,000. What the second leg of the formula implies is that in a situation where the taxable income is not greater than 600,000, but it is greater than the first 300,000, what I then want is to find the excess above that 300,000 and apply the tax rate of 11% on it. But where my taxable income does not fall in either the first leg or in the second leg, then let my results be 0. Let's also look at the formula for the 3.5 million taxable income. So here we said if the taxable income is greater than the cumulative total of 6.4 million, which is from cell B to H, as referenced in the formula, then apply 24% on 3.2 million. That's the first part of the formula. So for the second part, if the taxable income is greater than the total of 3.2 million, which is from cell B to G, but not up to 6.4, then find the excess above 3.2 and apply that same 24% on the excess. And where the taxable income does not fall in both parts of the formula, then let our answer be 0. And that is simply how the formula for Paye Computation on Microsoft Excel is done. What you need is to ensure that your cell referencing is accurate. So we have both the annual results and the monthly results. For the monthly results, just divide the annual results by 12 because Paye is mostly computed on an annual basis. Now that we are done creating the formula, let us adjust the rates to these other rates that I was given and see how the table changes. The figure for 19% changes to 1 million and that of 21% changes to 1.8 million, whereas we have nothing for 24%. As we can see, the table adjusts automatically. Please note that these other rates have been confirmed to be wrong as of today and the initial rates correct. The rates are only used to show examples of how dynamic and effective this table is. So we have come to the end of today's session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section and I will answer all. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in other videos. Bye for now.